Okay, first order of business is going to be the adoption of tonight's agenda. Can I get a second?
Second.
Right?
Yep.
Any discussion? In favor, opposed?
Yep.
So can I get a vote?
Yep. You know, that's unanimous.
Announcements, do we have any announcements tonight?
I have an announcement.
Joanne has an announcement.
Yeah, so, administration sent letters out to all of the properties inside the valley that we believed were possibly rentals. Unfortunately, when we did the mail merge, the records got off a little bit, and so a lot of the letters have the wrong property address on them. We've redone the letters and we'll be mailing them out so that they have the correct address. So if anyone's listening and got a letter and wonder what the heck is going on, it was just a little mistake and we're working to fix it.
Okay, thank you.
I have an announcement. So the any committee, nominations and elections has an open seat. And if any homeowner is interested in joining the committee, it's a great committee that we do really important work. So we oversee the nominations and elections and the election at the AGM. So we typically get together via Zoom. The last Monday of the month. And meetings are pretty crisp. We have an agenda. And so at this point, we're looking for someone else to join the committee. So if anyone's interested, there's a link on the Sun Valley website where you can request, and that information would get to me. So I'm Rob Gibbs. I'm the NE chair.
Again.
Welcome back, Bob, and thank you for coming back.
You almost got away.
We've got a large
Yes,
audience
so
tonight,
close.
so this is a perfect opportunity to join a committee.
It's great. We have a lot of fun. So.
Anyone else? Okay, announcements. Oh, got
Yep.
it. Property owner comments, 15 minutes total. Please note that comments are limited to 3 minutes per person. Okay? Recognized? Yeah, please come to the podium. State your name and address.
Do we want to make sure they understand that 15 minutes total, because we can't do 3 minutes for this many people?
We're gonna have to adhere to the rules of 3 minutes total. We're gonna have to
15
cut you
minutes
off.
total.
15 minutes
there's-
total.
Just too many people, and we've already given hours to all these property owner comments, so how you wanna split it up is gonna have to be up to you.
I don't think that's fair. We all came to tell you what we think and to talk about what you said, and I think that you need to make provision for all of us to speak.
Have we done it in the past, Barbara, or I think we've been pretty fair. I think we have done it many times.
Barbara, the
It
agenda has
doesn't really
been passed.
matter
and
how
we
many, it doesn't really matter, Tiny, I don't think how many times you've done it. I think we have a lot of new people here tonight that have not spoken, that have things to say, and I think that everybody should have the chance to speak.
Barbara, we're restricted by the rules, Robert's rules and Sun Valley rules.
And
Once the
Kyle.
agenda's been passed, we cannot change it.
That's not true, Tom, because you've done it in the past.
I know we've
You've let
done it in the
everybody
past, but
speak.
that doesn't make it right. We will give some consideration, but really, we have some business to get through tonight, and we appreciate everybody coming. I understand your concern, but we've really got to limit this. So please, be brief in your comments, and give everybody as much time as we can.
May I make a suggestion?
Sure.
We would not be in this situation had you opened this up to the population and to the shareholders before you went as far as you did, and maybe if we'd had a town hall so that everybody could have talked about it, you wouldn't be in this situation. So I kind of think it's something that you guys have created, and you really need to let us participate.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Linda, you had a comment? If more of you want to comment, then please, use that time wisely and come up and just say what you need to in a minute. If you, do you,
We
would you
break it
prefer
down into
that?
smaller sections of time.
Yeah.
I recognize for 3 minutes. Please state your name and address, please.
Thank you, guys. I'm Daphne Fairbairn from 5 Worthy Lane, and I wanted to thank you guys for everything you're doing for us as a community. I do appreciate it, and I support you. I'm a dog owner. I use the dog park daily, and I've done so ever since 2019, so I'm kind of an expert about what goes on down there. I understand the problems, and they certainly bother me as much as they bother anyone else. However, I strongly support fencing the dog park. I feel very strongly, and I know not everyone here agrees. I think an off-leash dog park absolutely 100% must be fenced. There are many dog owners whose dogs require fenced area to be off-leash. Young dogs, dogs with a high crane drive, dogs who are newly adopted from a shelter, and these people can't use our dog park. There's no dog park for larger dogs that a lot of dogs can use. So those of us with dogs who don't have those problems, we're having a great time. But a lot of people are excluded, so I can support the fencing. However, I feel, this is the only negative comment that I'll make, that the way of getting to the dog park, where we enter right at the parking lot and go through a long corridor, which will not be used, until we get to the dog park proper, and we enter at the far corner of the dog park where we know most of the dogs are likely to be down to the water. It's very poorly designed. It's bad for dogs and it's bad for owners, especially any owners who have difficulties getting around. And there are many of us. I'm not one of them, but I know many others. So please reconsider that very awkward entrance, which is costing us a lot of extra money in fencing, and just put the entrance along that fence that is parallel to the tennis courts. Otherwise, I do support the plans.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
So, excuse me, is that a service dog?
Clearly says that
Okay,
you
I
want
can't-
my paperwork.
Okay, I couldn't see
No,
that.
we're just gonna see her.
Yeah, okay, that's fine then.
Hi, my name's Justin Shank, I'm at 1 John Bright Court, 813. I'm also speaking as a dog owner, who, we adopted a puppy, and he's currently almost 4. He's a large dog, he's a Great Pyrenees Mastiff mix. They have terrible recall. I mean, that's just the way these dogs are. We used the park until, he got up on the golf course, one time, and then the second time we had to stop using it. I believe that I would agree that the park is poorly designed. There's potholes everywhere. And quite frankly, it's a lot of space for an off-leash dog park when there's only a couple of public access points to get into the lake. So I'm supportive of fencing and enclosing the space. I do believe that this should be made a larger discussion in a town hall vote type setting, and that more assessment needs to be done on that piece of property because it's quite a large park, and I don't think that the space is being utilized correctly. The softball field is completely unusable there, the backstop. I mean, with dogs running around, that's very dangerous. I also host a picnic every year for about 100 people at the picnic shelter, which creates all kinds of problems with people who normally use the dog park and are out just kind of around with people. So even for those residents who want to reserve the space for family picnics and stuff, you're still contending with other dog owners and other people around. So I believe that, I'm in favor for doing something here to create an enclosed space for dogs, and also using that lakefront access in a more effective way for people without dogs and people that just want to utilize that live in Sudden Valley. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kevin Nesbitt, Louise Drive. I just want to address some of the rationalizing I've heard in defense of the dog park reconfiguration. One, legal issues. At a recent board meeting, a director stated that, quote, until the Sun Valley fences off-leash dog park, we are violating county law, unquote. Other directors have subsequently repeated this claim. This is patently false. There is nothing in Whatcom County Code, Chapter 6.04, that precludes Sun Valley from having an unfenced dog park. I spoke at length with personnel from Whatcom County Animal Control and Whatcom County Code Enforcement. The Sun Valley Dog Park is 100% legal in its current unfenced configuration. Number 2, increased liability exposure. Despite decades of use, there has been no documented Sun Valley.
Sorry.
Can I stop a minute? Because I want to say something about the decor. I think that obviously there's a swell of people here because they're passionate about this subject.
Sorry, I don't know why it keeps going on.
Let me know you're good.
Thought I was.
We'll give you your time now.
Yep.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm taking my time. So I just want to say, given the swell of people here, this subject touches at a lot of lives directly. And this is the one and only chance we have to provide feedback on a proposal that just was finalized. So we've not seen this final proposal yet. So I just think given the gravity of this issue and the commitment of resources of capital outlay, that we should be given a little more time, that should extend the comment period. And all of you ran on, when you ran your campaign, said, I want to be transparent, I want to listen to the community, I want to, this is not my comment, okay, I'm just saying that, follow up on something. So, I mean, does 5 people, 3 minutes each, does that fulfill that campaign promise? I'd like to ask for additional time for, given the number of people here that want to speak.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll continue now.
Well,
Well, okay, number 1 is a legal issue, number 2 is increased liability exposure. Despite decades of use, there has been no documented Sun Valley Community Association insurance claims or settlements as a result of dog park. The SVCA is only liable in the case of negligence, meaning the association would have to be unusually and blatantly remiss. Proposed changes could meet this criteria of negligence. That's because a partitioned dog park is not a fenced dog park. Bisecting the dog park will only serve to separate dogs from owners. This is gross negligence by design. Also, the 10-foot wide enclosed ingress-egress cattle chute demonstrates ignorance of dog behavior. Leash dogs often act in an owner-protective manner when they encounter other leash dogs in small confined spaces. This can manifest as aggression. Forcing dogs to pass each other in cattle chute could result in injuries to humans, again, negligence by design. Number 3, increased insurance. This is a straw man argument. True, insurance costs have increased significantly in the recent years, but it is disingenuous to say that the dog park is somehow disproportionately responsible. Sun Valley has an umbrella insurance policy, so faulting the dog park for higher insurance costs is completely unfounded and misleading. Number 4, revenue potential. We have an old swing, a volleyball court, a baseball field, and a pavilion in the marina. None of these get any significant use. The pavilion is rented approximately 2 days a year and has severe wood rot in some of the columns. I understand there's an engineer report assessment forthcoming about the structural integrity, but if it must be deconstructed, why not move it to a more practical, desirable area? Where's the data confirming if we buy more stuff, they will come and pay? The goose poop alone will likely sabotage efforts to make the area picnic friendly. Most importantly, why are we trying to monetize the marina for non-residents at the expense of a highly valued community asset? One last consideration.
Thank you, that's your.
If the dog park becomes undesirable or dangerous, people may stop going, so they will not stop exercising their
sorry,
dogs.
your time's up.
Consequently, you will have more
Excuse me.
pedestrian
Time's
crossings,
up.
more
Please.
food bags on the side of this road,
You're not
more food
helping.
bags, soccer fields, wild dining, softball, and
Your
I was
time's up.
interrupted
We need
several times.
to, yeah, we need you extra
He
time.
can have my time.
No, we're not.
If you want to do
3
that, you
minutes
have
each.
to come up, take the podium, identify yourself, and then you can yield your time back to him.
Okay, I will do that.
But it has to be
It's
done
3
that
minutes
way.
each.
But
Right,
that time gets
She
counted.
seems really.
worried about hearing your point of view.
We're going to control this meeting.
My name is Bob Livingston. I live at 1 Green Hill Road in Gate 3. I retired here 3 years ago from the University of Washington. One of the major reasons my wife Kristen and I chose Sudden Valley is this dog park. But the main reason was the sense of community we felt when we were house shopping. Of course, we were aware of the reputation of this HOA, but the vibe we felt here was more reminiscent of the Mayberry-like neighborhood, similar to what we used to have in West Seattle. I hope some of you, as old as I am, will get that reference about Mayberry. Since I'm new here, you'll have to forgive me if I'm unfamiliar with our processes. I have two brief comments regarding these dog park improvements. And for the record, as a dog owner, I am 100% in favor of improvements. However, the proposal in front of this board was entirely composed by non-dog owners. And yes, an advisory panel met with Mitch and a long-range planning committee, but it was after this proposal was assembled and the recommendations were not considered. So my comments are these.
They were incorporated.
My comments are these. That 5 to 6 foot tall black fence design is inconsistent with the recommendations of our Architectural Control Committee and the character of that meadow. It will look like a prison fence bisecting that green space. That is a permanent tribute to the animus of the anonymous authors of this proposal. I recommend the board consider a shorter 4 foot tall split rail or hog wire fence consistent with our ACC recommendations. Why should this board not follow our own recommendations? And a shorter fence, more importantly, will allow for conversations between dog park users and the non-dog owners. And we would all certainly benefit from more conversations. There's entirely too much division as a part of this proposal already. Secondly, and more importantly, this proposal has not yet been approved by the Finance Committee, which canceled its April meeting due to the lack of a quorum. And according to our own rules and guidelines, as stated by policy 2024.03, a contract greater than $2,500 has to be approved by the Finance Committee. A vote tonight is inconsistent with this policy and the fiduciary responsibility of this board. So respectfully, my request to this board is this. Please follow our own policies and guidelines. To review this proposal prior to a board vote tonight. So I ask this board, will a member enter a motion for a point of order and table this proposal for after the Finance Committee can review the cost and design and make its own recommendations? So lastly, I enjoy living in Mayberry, and I hope this board will try harder to preserve the character of this community. And thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have any more pro
ACC.
comments?
Pro.
We're gonna pro fence versus anti-fence.
Why?
It's not a.
I wanna try to.
People trying to
give everybody a chance.
sides to talk.
Give everyone time.
We are getting close to our 15 minutes, so I think this, if you're gonna take 3 minutes, this is, I believe, the last comment.
My name is Lisa Class. I live at 150 Grandview Lane. I would like to yield my time to Kevin.
Okay.
I'm going to yield it right back, but I'll just finish what I was saying, and I hope that this board in the future will show less contempt for this community. So I dismissed the legal issues, the increased liability exposure, the increased insurance, and the revenue potential. And I just wanted to say, the last consideration was if the dog park becomes undesirable or dangerous, people may stop going to the dog park, but they will not stop exercising their dogs. Consequently, you will have more pedestrian car conflicts, more poop bags on the side of the road, more dog poop in common areas like the soccer field, ball diamonds, golf course, and pathways. So please tap the brakes on this project. Listen to the community, do some more research, and let's develop an equitable solution.
Thank you.
Can I throw in something with the last couple minutes there? Come on, be quick. It's not about the dog park.
I'm sorry.
Can I throw in something because it wasn't about the dog park?
Sure.
Okay.
Don't you stand in line to speak?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see you there.
Okay,
My bad.
all right, it's okay.
I honestly didn't even see you back there.
Okay, that's all right. I'm Judy Bishop from 47 Greenview Lane, and this is from Jane David. What is the problem solved here? First, we were told that the need for a fence is driven by liability concerns. This is despite the fact that Washington state law states that injuries caused by a dog are solely the responsibility of the dog's owner. And despite the fact that Washington state law states that if someone provides free access to their property for recreational purposes, they cannot be held liable for any unintentional injuries sustained there, unless the injuries result from a known dangerous artificial latent condition for which warning signs have been conspicuously posted. Such a condition must meet all 4 criteria. Entering an area marked as off-leash dog area is very unlikely to qualify. Could be Sun Valley be sued anyway, sure, but we could also be sued for something that happens at the marina, at the pool, at the playground, on the trail, on a potential pump track, or in a parking lot, regardless of whether or not the suit is justified. Simple solution: fence off the the off-leash area as it currently stands in Board Policy 2020.01. Using the boundaries established through such discussion with members at that time. Put up a few more signs, problem solved. Plus it requires maybe half the amount of fencing, thereby greatly decreasing the cost. Add on some stiff penalties for owners who allow their dogs to transit from parking lot to off-leash areas without the use of leash. And the related problem will be greatly reduced. I do find it hard to believe that many people stay away from the marina to avoid any chance of encountering an off-leash dog that is heading for the off-leash area though. I suspect a few loud voices are driving this argument. But wait, then why does this proposal shrink the available off-leash area by half? We are then told that the off-leash area must be smaller because some people want more grass and shoreline where off-leash dogs are not allowed. This in addition to the substantial amount of grass and shoreline already available to members in the rest of Marina Park, Am Beach, PM Beach, North Point Beach, Sofield Park, the Marina Spit, and the very lovely Marina Trail area, even though the sign for that somehow conveniently disappeared a few years ago. These are places where dogs are not allowed off-leash or may not be allowed at all. In the past 6 years, since the current policy was put in place, how many members have proactively reached out to the board or staff to voice their strong desire that the off-leash area be reduced by half? 10, 50, 300? It seems like some board members and the LRPC are taking the voices of a few people and amplifying them into the community wants. But the community hasn't made any such demand. This change is being pushed top down. Thank you.
One more, I got one more, Jane David also, at the moment, Grandview. This is a continuation of what you just heard.
Point of order, we're out of time. There's a gentleman here who wants to talk about a non-dog issue. You're also talking through Jane David, who just got her 3 minutes. This gentleman should get his time. That's my opinion.
I agree.
I would
Agreed.
recommend that too.
Yeah.
Take a seat, please. Sir?
Thank you. Chris Jobins, 55 Deer Run. This is in regards to the cafe lighting. They want to pass something, you're covering them. From reading in the policies, the exterior lights in architectural terms, those are fixed permanent lights. Those aren't decorative lights. So the cafe lights that they're talking about, those are temporary. They can be removed at any time. Those are just decorative, so it doesn't really fall under the same classification as that. Which if you look at the Appendix F, all of the things that they post on there, those are all pictures of permanent fixtures. So I just think that they haven't really considered that. That would also fall into how does that affect, say, Christmas lights? We're going to put these big covers so that all Christmas lights are down facing, because if they pass that policy the way it is, Christmas lights are gone. That was all mine.
Okay, thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your comment. And believe me, they have been listened to, and we have made multiple adjustments to this part.
Is it possible to explain what those might be? I think that we'd all feel better.
I'm sorry, the floor's closed.
No, she doesn't.
I can't hear you.
I was just hoping you could tell us what those changes might be so we would all be happy.
Well,
It's on the agenda.
if you look at what.
It's on the agenda material, it's in the agenda materials. So if you look at that, you'll see the changes.
There weren't any changes.
This is what we're gonna do. So,
If you think that this process will pass this scrutiny of the SB,
the floor is closed. Thank you.
Thank you.
No, we have had no time for input on this.
Last time we had a dog park
Moving
issue,
on.
the exact same dog park issue,
I
8
will
years
clear the
ago,
room if
every
I need
single
to.
one of
Might
us
as
got
well,
to
because you're
speak.
not listening
We
to us.
pay dues,
Wait,
and we
excuse me.
deserve to have a say.
okay, yes, you do. And you have. What we listen to are the emails and the letters that we receive. That's all we can respond to.
That's,
In other meetings, it's exactly.
You guys aren't following the rules. You didn't ask us what we wanted before you set in place something that makes ridiculous
Okay, excuse me.
800 feet of fencing for $80,000? Holy shit!
Thank you. We're moving on.
how can it be done when the
Next order of
finance
business.
committee hasn't passed it?
Okay, we're moving on to consent agenda. The next item of approval is the minutes from the April 9th meeting. Does anyone have any comments?
I would move that we adopt the minutes as submitted.
Second.
Second, okay, minutes.
Let Sean.
Vote, yeah,
Thank you. Alright,
all in favor?
Who seconded the motion?
Sean did, thank you, Sean.
Okay. You next.
Excuse me, we're trying to have a board meeting here. If you would like to speak,
You
talk
didn't
out
let
loud,
us.
could you please go in the hallway?
I'm a little new to this, but I'm a dog owner, I'd love to take him there, but
Excuse me.
whatever. Why isn't the playground just getting fenced? Just fill me in on that one and then we can all shut up and leave.
We're going from the center of the pickleball courts to the water. Why is that not blatantly obvious?
Okay, we're gonna take a 10-minute break. Clear the room.
Yeah, clear the room.
Thank you.
Non-compliant
Okay. Item 7, new business. Capital request for an off-leash dog park fence.
Okay, I had some committee business under continuing business,
Oh,
if that's
I'm
okay.
sorry, did I miss that one?
You did.
Sorry.
That's okay, I'll do that too when I'm
Okay.
running it.
I'll go back
I-
to number 6.
Sorry about that. I just wanted to state that LRPC has lost a member. When Mitch became a board member, we can only have 2 board members on long-range planning. So unfortunately, Mitch is not on long-range planning anymore, so we have one opening. But we appreciate the time that he put into the meeting.
Thank you. Yeah, and I can add one other item, that the safety group is starting to look for available dates for firewall program. We held in the barn at barn. As well as there's been a lot of questions lately about branch cleanup and shredding. Well, I'll just leave it.
Joanne, do we have a date for Firewise yet?
Yep, it's gonna, the article with all the details of Firewise will be in the May News. And we're starting the week of May 13th. I have to check the calendar though, because I'm always off
Okay.
on my days.
So we'll be doing
I
that.
see some questions on Facebook and I didn't have the
Yeah.
answer, so I just
Yeah, it's
thought
the
if I-
week of May 11th. And a calendar for which areas we will be picking up on which of the successive weeks. It will be published in the Views, which will be due out on May 1st.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you, Joanne. Anything else? Okay, moving on to new business, capital request, off-leash dog park fence. Page 5.
Okay.
Joanne?
So the purpose of this memo is to request board approval of funding for the off-leash dog park fencing project. Sun Valley's Lakeside Dog Park has been a feature of the community for many years. Because all of Sun Valley is considered a dog control zone, it is important to have designated areas where dogs can play freely off-leash. SVCA rules and regulations require that dogs be under control, which is a technical term here in Whatcom County, at all times. This is defined as in the house or an approved kennel, restrained by means of an invisible electronic fence, or on a leash or chain not longer than 15 feet, suitable for the animal's size and weight. That's taken out of our rules and regulations. Both the rules and regulations and Sun Valley's policy 2020.01 require that dogs remain on leash in the marina until they are in the designated dog park. This is important because Marina Community Park is a shared use facility. In addition to the dog park, there is a picnic shelter, child's play area, boat launch, boat slips, and many people who simply want to enjoy being near the water. When dogs are allowed to roam freely throughout the marina facility, it becomes difficult to drive, park, play, picnic, and enjoy the area. Every year, Sun Valley receives complaints about aggressive dogs that annoy or threaten individuals at the marina, and many people choose to stay away from the marina to avoid incidents like this. In addition to these concerns, legal counsel has advised SVCA that the dog park should be fenced to reduce our liability. When considering that over the past 5 years, SVCA's insurance premiums increased by more than 72%, from $124,835 in 2021 to $215,109 in 2025, an increase of $90,274. It is easy to see why steps must be taken to reduce our liability wherever possible. So it's absolutely true that it is not specifically the dog park that is causing our insurance rates to rise, but they are rising. And so any of our expert advisors, such as our insurance brokers or our legal counsel, who make recommendations to us from their experience with other organizations, we really need to take them. And that's, we've been told, and not just now, but we've been told going back years, that the dog park should be fenced to reduce liability. Finally, Sun Valley does fall under Whatcom County codes and is located within a designated dog control zone. This code requires that dogs remain under control at all times unless on your private property. County code defines under control as follows. Under control means that the owner, by means of a leash, restrains the dog to the owner's immediate proximity, preventing the dog from trespassing upon property or annoying or chasing other persons, animals, or vehicles of any sort. Proposed design. To ensure that both dogs and people can enjoy Sun Valley's Marina Community Park, we propose to build a fence to enclose the dog park portion of the park. The location of the fence was determined by looking through SVCA records and considering the various options that have been implemented over time. The current marina off-leash area policy was implemented in 2020 and significantly enlarged the dog park. This was done to take advantage of landmarks already in place, such as the tennis court fence, and to ensure that there was enough space for dog owners to observe rules for social distancing that were then in effect. The 1997 policy that was rescinded in 2020 defined a much smaller off-leash area. The location currently being proposed is somewhere in between those two different examples. The proposed fence plan follows a path defined in SVCA Policy 2020.01. The path begins at the parking lot, continues alongside the tennis court and the creek, to then reach the main dog park area. This path will ensure that dogs moving to and from the play area stay with their owners and away from other individuals using the park. The plan calls for an access card controlled entry to the path and a leash up area where the path enters the main off-leash area to give owners a comfortable spot to unleash or releash their pets before moving into and out of the open off-leash area. Whatcom County Code does not allow fences to continue into the water. To keep dogs and their owners from simply walking around the fence at the high water mark, a 30-foot length of fence will parallel the shoreline and a rope line with buoys will be installed to identify the border of the dog swimming area. Pricing shown below reflects options for the type and size of fencing material to be installed. The recommended fence height is 5 feet. That would be nice.
Get it for that?
That would be a bargain. But the option for a 6-foot fence is included. Similarly, plain galvanized fencing is the cheapest option, but black vinyl covered fencing and fencing slats are also priced. On February 21st, 2026, P&W issued a bid package to 7 local fence companies. 4 responses were received. The responses are summarized in the attached table. The tables below show the cost of fencing as supplied by C&P Fencing, which is our recommended vendor, along with the other costs of the project. So the bid was specifically designed to be flexible, so that if we change the length of the fence, or the location of the fence, or the height of the fence, we'll still be able to understand what our cost will be, and we have some leeway in the pricing.
Joanne, I'm not clear, is this like a chain link fence or is this like the decorative fence that we require?
Yeah, this is the regular chain link.
Black vinyl?
No, I mean this is the bid that I'm showing you.
Got it.
Anything's possible. We do recommend using C&P Fencing because in addition to being the lowest cost bid, we've worked with them very successfully in the past. Only 50% of the cost of the electrical work and security installations were added to this project because the other 50% will be covered by the tennis court refurbishment project. The recommended configuration for the fence is 5 feet high with black vinyl coating. 5 feet is adequate to contain most dogs, and the black vinyl coating will help the fence to disappear into the landscape. The total cost of the project with the recommended fence configuration is $70,066.63. This project does not have a line item on the 2026 capital budget for SERV, but several projects have come in under budget, providing funding that is within budget for this project. A list of the residuals is shown below, and I added them up. Additionally, the 2026 capital budget for SERV includes $22,497 for the replacement of outdoor amenities, making a total of $83,663 available for this project. So I request that the SVCA Board of Directors approve $70,066.63 in funding for the Marina Dog Park Improvement Project and authorize the General Manager to sign Sun Valley Standard Construction Contract with C&P Fencing. I wanted to take advantage of having this graphic to walk you through some of the changes that this plan has seen over the last month and a half. First of all, it is kind of a master plan that draws together a bunch of different amenities or upgrades that we're adding to the park. Already approved by the board is the renovation of these tennis courts and basketball courts. We have, look, they're telling me I'm unstable.
Maybe I should.
We should all be scared. Yeah, so this is long overdue. Those courts are still in use, but they're really badly worn out. So we hope to be able to complete that this year. The board approved design and permitting. We don't yet have the engineer's estimate, and we don't have full funding approved for that project, but we're in design and permitting. As part of this project, we will be slightly shortening the width of the courts in order to get permission from the county to install an asphalt walkway to enter into the tennis courts. Currently, as many people have observed, the ground at the Marina Park is just wet all the time and muddy. So having established paths and being able to do better grading is going to be key to helping us enjoy these features of the park without destroying the ground. In addition to the tennis court refurbishment, we've also gotten approval from the board to relocate a security pole. It was somewhere down here. It's hard to, I'm not a map person, more a go there and see person. But anyway, there was a pole that wasn't used. It had cameras on it, but they had been decommissioned in 2022 when we switched over to a new vendor. So we reused that pole, relocated it here, and we're in the process of mounting new cameras on it. We previously only had cameras looking from the marina office towards parking and towards the boat launch. And the cameras on the pole at the tennis court, they give us a view of the boat storage area and then these areas, the tennis court obviously, but also the beach area, the dog park area, and the pavilion. And those cameras haven't been working. Those cameras aren't working because not enough electricity is getting to that pole. So as part of the tennis court refurbishment, we'll be running new electric to that pole, and then those cameras will be brought back online. The other improvements, obviously, we're all here to talk about and think about this dog park fence. When this project was first proposed, and if you look through all of the many pages of documentation with this memo, the original plan had the fence going from the water and then careening over here to the side, and then this really long, skinny chute. Although 10 feet wide is not a cattle chute. I used to raise cattle, and I can tell you, a cattle chute's about less than 3 feet wide, because you don't want to turn it around. When you're worming cattle, you don't want them to be moving around. Anyhow, it still feels narrow, but this chute has been widened to 15 feet. So it's a much more pleasant pathway, and it's bordered on one side by the fence, but on the other side, it's just the natural brush barrier. So I don't know if you guys think that's great or not, but that's the current design, and we're still, obviously you can still send in emails and everything else. But the fence has been significantly shortened. Originally it was almost 1,000 feet. It's now down to 770 in this current configuration. And the fence has not only been straightened out to give more area for dogs to be free, but we also thought it looked better straight and not all wonky. And it's also been pivoted to be more parallel to the fence along the tennis court. And that dramatically shortened the length of the fencing along the pathway. Okay, so that's what we've got proposed right now. And this plan, which is posted to the website, so if you go to the website, and we just launched the newer version, so it's finally mobile compatible for your phones. If you go to the website, and on the left menu it says Board of Directors. Click on the Board of Directors. And then the Board of Directors page comes up, and in the middle there's a button that says 2026 Agendas and Minutes. If you click on that, you come to an index page, which has the agendas, the minutes once they're approved, and links to the videos of the meetings once the meeting has taken place. And in the agenda, area, there's a thing, underneath it says addendum. It's this. So you can, zoom in on it on your computer or your phone, so you can read all this tiny little type and really explore it. And it's up there finally for you to take a look at. But we've had about 15 iterations of this map, trying to respond to the feedback that we've gotten from the community. So that's the dog park fence. Additionally, you'll hear later in the meeting, if you choose to stay, that we're asking for the board to approve funding that has been budgeted for playground improvements. And we intend to use those to create paths that are ADA compatible so that people can park in the ADA spots, get out and have solid, wide paths that don't present barriers. And then this playground area, the swings, will be replaced by an ADA compliant play structure and appropriate surfacing underneath with the right kind of border. So it's a bunch of different projects that are coming together. And the last but not least project that I'm the most excited about, honestly, is we have about $10,000 left in the budget from signage last year that we want to use to do a really thoughtful, integrated set of signs that are permanently and professionally installed. I remember the first day I came out here to take a look at the association where I was being considered for employment, and I took a look at the marina. It's one of the most outstanding features of the association, and I drove in, and right at the entrance there used to be a sign, I will give it that designation. There were two old rotting 4x4s with a 4x8 piece of plywood randomly nailed to it with a bunch of looked like handbills, okay? And it hurt me. It hurt me that this exquisite area is truly an exquisite area should be headed up by such an inappropriate sign. So we're going to take some money, not to create giant billboards, but to create signage that directions people, tells people what's there, and really gives us a sense that it is an integrated park, not just a bunch of things you can do, but a whole place. Is it okay to take questions from or not?
I just want to know what the access is to the dog. I can't see it from here.
Oh, okay. There's a man gate at the end of this path, right next to the end of the tennis court. So there would be asphalt path to that gate. There's a return that takes it into the brush so that you can't just walk around it because that would be silly. And the idea is to put a card reader at that fence, not to generate revenue. That is not the point of the card reader. The point of the card reader is to give members access to this facility and require non-members to identify themselves if they're going to get access. They would have to buy a pass, just like they have to buy a pass if they're going to use our boat launch. And the reason for that is because if a member violates one of our rules, if a member walks through the parking lot with their dog off leash, we can go up to that member and we can say, "Member, there's a rule that you can't have your dog off leash in this area. You have to wait till you're in the park." And they say, "I don't care, I'm doing whatever I want." We can see what car they came out of, we can run their plate, we see that they're a member, we can fine them. We don't want to fine them, we want them to put their dog on a leash. But if they don't respond to a warning, we can fine them. If a non-member comes here and says, "Screw you, Joanne, I'm not putting my dog on a leash," what am I going to do to them? Nothing. We have no recourse. But if we know who they are, if they've had to purchase a pass to get into the dog park in the first place, then we know who they are and we can trespass them. We can say, "Our parks are open to everybody, but not you, because you're not following our rules."
Okay. Thank you, Joanne. Certainly. Okay, the motion is, I move the Sun Valley Community Association Board of Directors.
There's a question over here.
Please don't interrupt, thank you, thank you.
Approve $70,066.63 in funding for the Marina Dog Park Improvement Project and authorize the general manager to sign Sun Valley Agreement, standard construction contract with C&P fencing. Do I have a Second?
Second.
Okay, discussion. Linda?
I have a question for Joanne and about this thing. It mentions in here that Guardian Security has money in this, and electrical also. Do we need to have contracts with them also, or is this covered somewhere else? Because otherwise I would say that instead of just contracting with CP fencing, that we would change it to read the necessary subcontractors for this project.
So as I mentioned, but it's easy to miss, we're only putting half the cost of the electrical work and the Guardian Security work in this budget. The remainder is in the budget for the tennis courts, which has not yet been approved. So if that project is fully approved and funded, we will execute the contracts at that time, and they will access some of the funding set aside for this fence project.
Just checking that part of it.
Anybody else? Timing?
Yeah, I know Joanne covered some of the things I wrote down here, but I just wanted to cover a couple of points, and I'm sorry it's a little bit long, but I thought it was kind of important because this is a big issue. This issue did not appear overnight. Concerns about the marina off-leash area have been discussed since at least 2009. In 2016, the board asked for safety concerns to be reviewed and recommendations made. A proposal was developed that included options such as fencing, relocation, and time restrictions. At that time, SVCA's attorney stated in a letter, SV's liability risks can be significantly reduced if the off-leash area is fenced. He was again asked about the issue this year and reiterated his previous opinion. The issue came back to the board on June 22nd, 2017, which led to the creation of a committee which was given direction to bring off-leash use into alignment with Bellingham and Whatcom County guidelines. Over the following year, volunteers were recruited, the topic was discussed at multiple meetings, research was done, and the alternatives were considered. By June 2018, the committee formally recommended that administration explore the feasibility of fencing an area of the marina for off-leash use while preserving beach access. This was not a rushed or improvised decision. It was the result of more than a year of committee work, public discussion, and board review. The proper process was followed by volunteer community members acting within the charter to improve safety and usability in our parks. What is clear is that the off-leash area was intended to be one portion of Marina Beach Park, not the entirety of it, and that other park uses were always meant to coexist and where necessary take precedence. The focus moving forward is not on revisiting that decision, but on finding a practical and workable permanent solution. This year, the board realized that it was time to finally move forward with the project. Our attorney was consulted, skyrocketing insurance costs were considered, and the need to be in compliance with County Code 6.04.040 regarding dog control zones. There was an article in the Views. Members of the community have come to numerous board meetings to discuss their opinions. A focus group was formed. Emails were solicited from the community via e-blast. There is no doubt that the off-leash dog park is a beloved amenity, and the board heard your concerns. Users of the dog park felt the original plan for the fenced area was too small. We listened and made it bigger. They felt the walkway to the park was too narrow. We made it wider. There is concern about how wet the ground is. We are going to address that by repairing the ground and adding drainage. Park users voiced concern about losing the shelter. There will be a new one installed just for the dog park, which will be closer to the area where most dogs actually play. However, we also listen to members who don't use the marina park because of dogs running off-leash all over the marina, tennis courts, and the marina spiff. The marina park is a great place. However, it should have accommodations for both people wanting to let their dogs run free and enjoy the lake, as well as those who simply want to enjoy the waterfront in a dog-free environment.
Thank you, Simon. Mitch?
Couple questions. I knew finance committee couldn't come up with a quorum, but where's the finance committee sit on their thoughts on the total project for the marina. Because we have this project, and then there's also 2 other projects right behind it. Soil and aeration and getting rid of that mud pit, which I think if we're gonna, that needs to be resolved, drained. Where's finance on total projects?
Finance hasn't discussed it, so I can't really comment on that. I know that there are people that are concerned about the drainage and are certainly indicated that they'd be willing to be positive on that. But there hasn't been discussion on this yet, because our last meeting was canceled, and this is where the beginning of the discussion was going to be.
I understand that we wanted to put this on the agenda at finance last time, and you had a quorum problem, and this was already on the agenda for the board. But I wouldn't want to see another project for the marina come here without it going to finance first. Really want to make sure that that happens, and following that process. Secondly, a comment. I looked up today and I was not surprised to see that the vast majority of off-leash dog parks in Whatcom County are fenced, and they are owned by municipalities. Now, municipalities who have far deeper financial pockets than we do in our HOA, if they're fencing their dog parks, they know something that I think we also know, and they're protecting themselves as we should be protecting ourselves, and they have far greater deep pockets than we do. And so there's something to be said. Why are we not doing what they're doing? Those are my 2 comments.
All right, thank you, Mitch. Rob?
Thank you. I have a couple comments. I love dogs. Been a dog owner all my life. I have never been to we've taken our dogs to dog parks. Never in any municipality where I've been, like at Marymore, in King County, up here, they're all fenced. They all have like an entry area that is gated, and then you go in, and then there's, to actually go into the park, that's gated as well. So it's very safe, no dog can get out and run into the parking lot.
Sally Port kind of thing.
Exactly. I've enjoyed watching the dogs playing down here. I personally wouldn't bring any of my dogs down there because it's not fenced. Knowing their personalities, they like to run, and they probably end up at, I'm not sure which green it is over across the creek. So I've been following this even when I was on the Recreational Trails Committee when this was brought up in 2019. I think it's something that needs to be done. We need to have fencing. As a boat owner, I had 2 misfortunes where I almost backed over a dog on the launch ramp, and we were backing the boats down. When I was a volunteer in the harbor, I used to sit out in the grass, and dogs would run around the corner, literally defecate right there, and then the owner would come around and say, "Hey, Spot, come on," and off they'd go. So we need some controls, and I think that from a number of my neighbors I've talked to, they all agree to that. So I like us following this layout. The last comment I have, and it's mood, I think, really, but it just, I think it's great that we're still trying to accommodate a dog park on the lake. Frankly, I don't understand why we give up that much prime lakefront for dogs to play and whatnot, but it's there, and I'm glad that people will have a chance to enjoy it. That's my last comment.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you. Can I make one more comment on that?
Daniel.
Daniel.
Well, first of all, this isn't just for dogs. This is for the people who have dogs, and this is a very important thing to them. And I don't think there's a lot of resistance to some sort of fence. I think a lot of people are happy with that. I think I'd be happy with that too. I think this is not the solution. This is an ugly fence, a chain link fence. As soon as you walk in the park, all you're going to see is chain link fence wherever you look. This is a beautiful park, and a lot of us go down there with or without our dogs to look at the beautiful scenery. There are eagles there, ospreys, all kinds of birds. This is not the solution that Sun Valley wants. I mean, we need another volleyball. You're taking away dog park and giving us a volleyball. Tennis courts, so we need more tennis. Why can't we just get rid of the tennis courts? We've got 3 tennis courts already. Anything like a volleyball set, why don't we go over here with the rest of the recreational stuff? It's a lot of space for dogs, but there are a lot of people who use it. Dogs take up a lot of room. And I agree that a corral going around there, if you get a couple of dogs together that don't get along, in that enclosed space, 15 feet sounds like big, but when you've got your dogs going through there, so if you look a couple of dogs, that's just not workable. I think there's a compromise that we can come to. I think there's a lot more consensus here than you think. This is not a good answer, but I think there's a good answer out there, and I think we need time to come to that. I would definitely want to see.
Meeting here.
I've got a problem.
There's a lot of consensus here, a lot of things that we
There's
can
a lot of
agree on.
consensus here, and I think we can see through that. This is, I don't know how many times you've all been to this place, this dog park, but that is essentially, you're giving us the swamp. That is literally the swamp. If we do anything where we restrict us to that area, that has to be cleared first. That is, I mean, people gravitate to the other areas because that place is literally underwater. That's where the ducks go. We don't want that spot. And I understand that's a big part of the park, but there's a lot of dogs, a lot of dog owners, and making all these decisions without even looking at data that we're gonna get from our survey, which we're paying $18,000 to do a survey. There are questions about dogs in that survey. If we're not using that survey, why are we even doing it?
I'll just respond, specifically to Daniel's comments. I think we've talked in past meetings that we do have a really nice golf course with, a greens manager that has also came over to take a look at the dog park to take care of the drainage issues and sand and seed and help us out with making it look like a golf course. They're really nice for everybody. So I mean, that, and they're not gonna, we're gonna bring them up, they're gonna use their equipment. It would basically be seed and sand that we'd have to supply. So I mean, I think that's something we can do and we talked about. So I don't think.
I'm sure it's possible.
Yeah. I honestly, I think it should be the first thing we do if we did anything, for sure. I agree.
But I think at this point, this plan isn't to the point where we should be voting on it. I think there's still a little bit of work to be done.
Linda?
So I've lived here since 1996, and until we started looking at this whole dog park situation, I never knew anything about county code. And I can't believe that they don't care that we don't have animals who are running unleashed, who do all the things in county code that says that dogs are not to do, which is may not jump or threaten people in public areas. They must generally be leashed at all times. That they can't disturb people in a public area, and they currently do. And the dog parks people's answer is, fence in the children. No, you fence in the dogs because that's what county code says you do.
Let's speak for other people.
You're interrupting. I'd like the floor, please.
Linda has the floor.
That you have this idea that you can fence in children. Dogs are property. They might be your babies. I used to have 2 babies I took down there. I now have 2 babies that are kitties that live in my house. But I never knew that it should be. I feel that Sudden Valley, if they're gonna have an off-leash area, I agree with Mitch. There's reasons Lake Padden and other areas have fenced their areas in. When I went down to the park today, because I wanted to take a look at all of the designs and stuff, currently the dog park sign is way beyond the measuring of the 2020 plan. The fact that the bench that's supposed to be there for everybody is now in the dog park area. It's the only other sandy area. The best area of that beach, the dogs have. So do I think if you wanna put this off, then fine, then you close the dog area. You let our maintenance people come in there and work and let them fix it. And you close off the dog park temporarily until it's fixed. If everybody wants to wait and wants this long resolution to things, let's close it for a while. Let our people look at it, because dogs can't be down there if our people are trying to work, now can they? So that's kind of where I'm at.
Thank you, Linda. Lord. Sorry, I didn't see you there.
Just a question for any Joanne or the long range planning, just to clarify for me. On the brown walkway, is the double fence is at the end of the walkway and entrance to the dog park, right?
Yes, so there would be a single gate at the end by the tennis court, and then you go down, and then there's like a little fenced area where you.
Right, so the double fence is only at the end of the.
Right.
Double gates, that's it.
Yeah.
The
The idea is that the dogs would be on leash.
That's what I
while
was
they're
asking,
in
the brown area off leash or on leash?
Well, they would be
on leash.
yeah.
Okay, so the off leash would start after the double gates.
Right.
Okay.
Point of order, long-range planning did not get this for input and review. We got it, and we had a meeting with members of the community, and the board president agreed to change and enlarge the park from the input from the members, right? And took several of our suggestions, but long-range planning did not sit
And see the final review.
We did
This is
not.
the first time.
We got it.
anyone-
We got it,
Okay, thank you.
Daniel?
Just to clarify, Linda, I'm not arguing about a fence. You keep talking about a fence, and I mean, we can come to a consensus about what a fence should look like. I do not want to see a huge chain link fence in there. If somebody came to us at the ACC asking for a chain link fence, we would not allow that. They're hideous, they're ugly. We insist that they not only use decorative fencing, which is probably more expensive, but they also have to put either black or green vinyl on it too. Nobody in Sun Valley wants to live in a neighborhood where it has chain link fence, especially in a gorgeous place like the dog park. But for fencing, I'm willing to talk about what kind of fencing we put in there. I think most people here would be okay with some sort of fencing, but I think the corral thing is just a non-starter for a lot of, anybody who has dogs and has walked into the dog park, you know, that is not, it's somewhat, almost an insult to dog owners to have to walk through that whole area. Then we're trapped all the way to the other end, we have to walk all the way around the fence again. It's not a good solution, but I think there's a good solution out there, and I think a fence would be part of that solution. So I think.
It needs to be.
I think so too. I think so too.
It needs to be.
No crosstalk, please. Okay. Joanne's next.
Go ahead.
So, defending the chain link, I think he's likely to. However, it's the cheapest kind of fence you can install and it's very durable, which is why we default to it. And in that marina environment, it's wet and wood is going to decay really quickly. So,
the whole Sun Valley is like that.
yeah, I get it. This happens when you build in a rainforest. But like the type of fencing we automatically automatically respond with is institutional sort of fencing. So yeah, we could do hard wire. It's just, I mean, you're going to see the cost go way up.
Not if it's
shortened. Yeah, I get it. But that's just. I'm just saying why this was chosen. It wasn't really a thoughtful, what kind of fence do we want to build sort of discussion. It was just, we need a fence, okay, here's our standard fence. So that's.
In defense of all the neighbors that are forced to put up those fences, it is cheaper to put a chain link fence, but we're telling our neighbors that you have to put up a certain kind of fence.
So we need to change the CC policy.
Point of order, ACC has no purview over corporation space. But you keep bringing up ACC would recommend this or that, but the ACC by covenant does does not recommend or give guidance on corporation space.
I'm the board, I can have guidance.
Well, you can give personal opinion, but the ACC does not give guidance
I'm
on
not speaking for the
corporation.
ACC.
But that's what your job on the board is.
Cory and then.
Who was first?
I
Go
think so.
ahead,
I can't.
go ahead, Warren.
Just, seems to be that there's, even in this research, in between board members, that this, I'll call it shoe count, whatever people are calling it,
Corridor.
seems to, the corridor seems to be kind of a sore point. Just to clarify that everything where it says playground, basketball court, all that green space, that's, dogs can still go there, they just have to be on leashes.
Right.
Just, so would it be possible, or is there a reason why this was not considered, to put this double, like somewhere in the middle between the water and the back, the same, double, I don't know what the technical term is, but the double entry gates there, and then you would have to walk your dog on its leash all the way to there. But would we still have the same problems that we have now, is that people aren't leashing their dogs? And a leash with here, if they didn't leash their dogs and they took them from there, it's not gonna, I could see it being safer, so it's not gonna affect people if they disobey the on-leash rules in that, the brown walkway area. Is that the reason why a center double gate was not considered? So is it like, because the dog owners are not currently obeying the rules of the association, now we're putting something in that if they continue to not obey the rules, it doesn't have as much consequences on the rest of the
Yes.
association members? Okay, thank you.
Another thing too is currently Sudden Valley has a 15-foot rule for dog leash, which is a lot.
Oh, they
if
can
you're-
only have 15 feet.
So 15 feet or shorter. Most places, I know that Whatcom County or Dillingham has 8 feet. And if you go to any trainer, you go to most dog walkers, they're gonna have a 6-foot leash. That's really pretty standard. If you aren't able to control your dog on a 15-foot leash, that's a problem. So how I understood the shoot to be was, yes, because people may not keep their dogs on leash to get to the dog park. And even if they did keep them on leash, they're 15 foot. It's hard to control a dog when you're 15 feet out away from your body.
Yeah.
It just is. So those were considerations. I think if there's compliance, maybe different interests would be considered. That's how I understood it.
Just one quick comment, we do have the benefit of a retired veterinarian to help us with this. Rob?
Yeah, I just wanna, make sure I understand, so, the gate, so the corridor, that's going in, that's a double gate. Like what we typically see at like Patton or over at Squalica, right? So there's an area that, and then as you come down that brown section, there would be fence as I'm going down, there'd be fence on the left side. On the other side of the brown, is there nothing there?
Brush.
Just brush.
Brush along the creek side.
Very thick blackberry.
So is there any reason why, once I go through the double gate area, I couldn't just unleash my dog because now I'm in the dog park?
Because there's other dogs in that corridor. And we don't want.
Okay, okay,
The dogs have to be controlled.
okay.
Right?
Yeah, I believe I recall in one of the sketches that having an entry going around the picnic area and all that, there's gonna be a dog parking back at the entry before the shoot starts, designated for owners of dogs, which has been a big problem.
Right.
I live close to there, it's chaotic, guys are trying to go there with their dog, and they can't find no place to park. And the dog wants to go, and they're parking in the car, and there's no place to park, and they gotta go home. But the designated parking, I think, would be a good benefit, and that benefits, it be in private entrance.
I think we're out of the way.
Joanne, you wanna?
Yeah, so if For people who go down in the marina and are familiar with it, when you start to walk towards the pavilion, right before you get off the gravel, off to the right, there's like a sand bunker in there, a storage area.
Yeah.
That storage area is going to be removed and the area would be converted to parking.
So it'd be designated.
With dog parking, yeah,
Yes.
dog parking.
Yeah, I thought that was a good plus. There's lots of good benefits here, there's lots of downsizing, there's lots of adjustments. But there's lots of people that need to share the beach. I live down there, I go there, I stay far away from the dog park, it's too chaotic for me, I can't eat my lunch down there, it doesn't work. But this is a good sign in a good direction. I think we need to go forward.
Thank you.
Keith has a comment.
Okay.
So Keith McLean is away on vacation, but he's listening to the meeting and he texted to remind us that the fencing that we're proposing, the vinyl covered, chain link fencing, is the same as what's currently around the tennis courts and it's what's around the pool. Both of the pools, and so we do use that throughout the association. I'm sorry.
Lori, I just comment, I agree with you, that I had advocated to put the gate in the center of that fence. It's just, that way also people could use the bathroom easier. You know, I always, and I thought that was a better place. The problem is, people don't, I've been at the park 3 times this week, and I walked in with people that had their pets off leash, and I walked out with people who had multiple dogs not on leash, I mean, just not leashing them at all. And so, as Joanne said, we don't want to issue fines, but I'll tell you, it's getting people to follow those rules. It's getting to be a problem, so it is a problem. I think putting the fence in the center there is a better move, getting people to follow the rules. Well, I don't think there's bad dogs, I think there's bad owners.
And we don't want to run over dogs either.
No.
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment that I understand the passion here. There are a lot of special interest groups in Sun Valley. Pro golf course, anti-golf course, pickleball versus tennis court, association, abolish the association. You know, there's a bunch of them. But my commitment when I ran for this office was to represent the entirety of the community. And we have a lot of community members that want to use the beach park. And we have to respect their wishes as well. So we're doing the best we can to accommodate everybody. We hear you, understand your concerns, but we have to move. Daniel.
I really think we need to wait till we hear from the survey before we make any move on this. You're saying you hear us, but you don't, you're not looking at the survey. This is like 30 people here, we've got 7,000 people. Why don't we just wait for the survey? Is there any reason why we shouldn't remain?
Got an email from a member that stated some statistics from this petition that's out there saying
It's not a petition, I'm talking about the survey that we.
Let me finish, please. There were 271 responses, along with plus or minus 1,800 dogs. If you figure the percentage there, it's 15% of the responses came from people with dogs versus people that didn't respond. 3,200 houses, 271 responses. That's 8.4% of the population. We have a lot more people that, you know, I looked at the census today for Sun Valley, 7,821 people. That's who I represent, and I'm hoping this whole board represents, and we need to make accommodations for them as well. I understand it.
Well, why are we doing a survey if we're not using it?
Because the survey's not about the dog park.
The survey what?
It's not about the dog park.
There's other questions about the dog.
There's not. I don't.
I think there's just, do you have a dog?
Yeah.
But what I was gonna say was, there's a motion on the table, and I think if everybody's okay, I think we should go ahead with voting.
I just have a quick comment.
Okay, quick.
My question was about waiting for the survey. What if we did the survey and it came back overwhelming that people don't, that the majority of the owners here don't want the dog park, would rather see it all as a community park? Would we then have to consider eliminating the dog park and putting that on the table? I don't think we wanna have to go there.
I agree.
They do what the people want.
No, I don't think, I think that would be.
We wouldn't wanna take the dog park away.
Can I,
That's what I'm saying.
and I'd like to call the question. Just call the question.
Alright.
Okay, so there's a motion on the table. What do you?
I don't have the motion.
Oh, okay, well, the motion was, it's right here, I can read it again.
Okay, the motion is, I move that Sun Valley Board of Directors approve $70,066.63 in funding for the Marina Dog Park Improvement Project and authorize the general manager to sign a Sun Valley standard construction contract with CMP Fencing. The motion was seconded.
Yeah, all in favor?
Okay, all in favor?
That
Votes
is
pretty unanimous.
unanimous.
I saw two people with no hands up.
We don't
There are
have.
not
those.
voting members.
of the board.
This is a mistake. It's just wrong, just wrong.
You say the community, there's a large number of community members that are for this, they don't show up to these. They don't show up to these meetings. I've been to 3 of them, and it's always people who are against it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Where are they?
Here, I'll just take the sheet out of the pen.
Probably afraid of how they're gonna be treated by the others in the audience.
It's just leave that one.
They have kids.
I'm very sorry.
Okay, next item on the agenda is a capital request for the Marina Community Park improvements.
Page 42.
Do I have a second?
No.
Oh.
We're gonna be up here real fast. It's Tom.
The purpose of this memo is to request board approval for the design and permitting phase of the Marina Community Park Playground Improvement Project. The playground at Marina Community Park has not been refurbished for many years. The playground consists of swings installed over wood chips. Also, soil compaction around the playground and nearby restrooms has created large puddles of water, making it difficult to walk to and from the play area and restrooms. SVCA proposes to improve the Marina Park playground by adding ADA accommodating parking and access to the restrooms, extend ADA access to the play area, and rebuild the play area to be ADA accommodating. This work would be accomplished over 3 phases. Phase 1, during this phase, the project will be designed, permits will be obtained, and an engineer's estimate of costs will be prepared. The development of a bid package and issuance to bidders is also included in Phase 1. In Phase 2, this phase will include the construction of 2 parking stalls, or as many as are designated in the Phase 1 design, and installation of paths to the existing restrooms and play areas. Phase 3, the final phase of the project, will include removal of the current play equipment and surfacing, and the installation of the new equipment that meets current standards along with an ADA compliant border and surfacing. Phase 1 will be completed in 2026. If permits are obtained in time, it is possible that Phase 2 can also be completed this year. Phase 3 will most likely be completed in December of 2027 in anticipation of a long lead time to obtain the play equipment. The 2026 capital budget for SURF includes $116,669 for playground improvements. Estimated cost for Phase 1 total $24,376. I request that the SVCA Board of Directors approve funding of $24,376 from SURF for Phase 1 of the Marina Community Park Playground Improvement Project and authorize the General Manager to execute the proposed contract with Impact Design for engineering and permit application.
Okay, thank you, Joanne. Motion. I move that the Sun Valley Community Association Board of Directors approve funding of $24,376 from CRRF for Phase 1 of the Marina Park Playground Improvement Project and authorize general manager to exercise the proposed contract with Impact Design for engineering and permit application.
Second.
Is that you, Tammy?
That's me.
Yeah.
Question?
Discussion.
Question?
Yes.
The funding allotment of 116,669, is that for just construction, or does that include your ED&I of 24,376?
That's the total budget, so we'd have to take out the 24,000 from that.
All right, so 116 is total budget, total project cost.
It's a modest amount, that's
No,
why we're restricting it
It's
to that.
20%, not good with 20%.
Linda?
I think Lori was first and then me.
I have a question regarding phase 3, Mike, is that okay to ask?
Sure.
Okay, so when you say, I think you said earlier when you were doing your whole presentation, that we weren't just doing it ADA compliant, we were actually going to put in an accessible play structure?
Yeah, we don't know what it is yet, and we
Okay.
don't know how much of a one we can afford, they're pretty expensive.
But like with merry-go-rounds that accommodate wheelchairs and ramps instead of stairs, and all that kind of accessibility?
Yeah, that sounds expensive to me, but whatever, I think currently we have swings, right, which are
Takes up the whole
fine,
area.
but they're kind of, they're just swings. So I don't know what fancy thing we can put there, but the idea is that we would pick something that's accessible.
Yeah, because ADA compliant and an accessible structure are two really different things. So I was just wondering if we were leaning towards a play structure that would accommodate those who may have
I
some
wonder if there's any
ability to
chance
do
for
that. Oh, there's tons of grants, I have all the information, I discussed this with Keith a little bit.
Yeah,
Oh, good.
that's great.
Linda?
So, a few years back, the reason that our playground out here looks the way it does and has the accessibility, ADA accessibility, is because we hired someone, a woman, who did a really complete thing, and actually that's how we built and reconfigured these playgrounds out here. The playground at Gate 5 and all the other parks by putting mulch in them and taking out the pea gravel, which we learned was not a good thing. So evidently, what we want in there is the mulch. We've got some of that information, and I believe Tyler and P&W are the people that found her for that. I think, Joanne, you were on the board then yet? Because that's when we started putting money into ADA compliance for the different parks.
Yeah, so P&W has the report that was returned by the company that did that assessment of our parks, and it will be supplied to Impact Design. So it's building on work we've already done.
I just wanted to make sure, because I don't know how many other people realize or remember that that's already been done.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, I just want to comment, I love the fact that ADA, that there's ADA thought going into this project in terms of parking, from the whole way, from parking, getting to the play structure. It could be a parent that has accessible issues, maybe a child, and play equipment. And I also voiced with Lori that through the work that I do with the Here and Now project, I know that the city of Port Angeles put in an accessible playground. I probably have more money than we do, but I could also provide some information to Joanne and the team, or at least some other people to talk to. It sounds like we've had some studies already done. We don't have to reinvent the wheel, but it does my heart so good to our community is thinking about everyone to be inclusive, to be able to go and enjoy things. So thank you for that, Joanne. Appreciate it.
Anybody else? Okay, the motion on the floor, I'll read it again. I move that Sun Valley Community Association Board of Directors approve funding of $24,376 from CRRF for Phase 1 of the Marina Park Playground Improvement Project and authorize the general manager to execute the proposed contract with Impact Design for engineering and permit application.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Unanimous.
Unanimous. Okay. Next on the agenda is the capital request for design and permitting for culverts 22 and 24.
Thanks, Tom.
Go ahead.
Purpose of this memo is to request board approval of funding for the design and permitting of replacements for culverts 22 and 24. In the 10-year roads and drainage plan, Impact Design identified that culverts 22 and 24, located on Polo Park Drive just inside Gate 9, should be scheduled for replacement in 2028 and 2027 respectively. It was recommended that both of these culverts should be replaced with prefabricated metal bridges. Because of the long lead time required for permits, we propose to begin design work this year. Also, since the culverts will be replaced with very similar bridges, it will save SVCA money to design them and submit permit applications at the same time. When design and permitting are complete, a funding request for the construction phase of these projects will be brought back to the board. Funding. In the 2026 capital budget for roads, $84,203 is allotted to design and permitting for culvert 24. $97,301 are allotted in 2027 for design and permitting of culvert 22. Because we have elected to delay the replacement of culvert 25, which is in the 2026 budget for $594,880, ample funds are available this year to pay for the design and permitting for both culverts 22 and 24. I request that the Sudden Valley Community Association Board of Directors approve funding of $167,497 from the Roads Reserve Fund and authorize the general manager to execute the proposed contracts with PowerTech, Northwest Geologic, Impact Design, and Lake Whatcom Water and Sewer.
Thank you, Joanne. The motion, I move that Sun Valley Community Association Board of Directors approve funding of $167,497 from the Road Reserve Fund and authorize the general manager to execute the proposed contracts with PowerTech, Northwest Geologic, Impact Design, and Lake Whatcom Water and Sewer. Second?
Second.
Discussion.
Linda?
So, I'd like to know, because it's been now, we're going on year 2, of where are we with the bridges in Area Z, which we've already funded, and at least one of those bridges is sitting down there in Area Z, has been for a long time, and also culvert number 4, that it's like, where are we at with these? You know, we're doing all these projects ahead of time and committing and obligating this money, but we're still sitting with bridges that we've ordered. We haven't even gotten the second bridge, I don't believe, for culvert 4.
That's correct. We have the maintenance bridge sitting in Area Z, and we are waiting. We did not order the culvert 4 bridge because we haven't heard from the county. We check in with them on a regular basis, multiple times each month. The county is moving at a snail's pace, and they seem confused about their own processes. I do know that the latest update is the SEPA study was acknowledged, approved, we've checked off that box, so progress is being made. And one of the reasons that we're so anxious to start these design and permitting processes so far in advance of the project is because of our experience with the Area Z and Culvert 4 projects. Very disappointing in the county.
Yeah, it's scary that you have all that money out there that we can't do anything with, and then we're still doing more, and then waiting with this extended length of committed money, that's all.
Yeah, it's very scary, but each of these culverts is $1 million project.
Yeah, I know, I understand that. And then there's the one that we put off this year, that's even worse than these.
And in the past, the permits have come through pretty close. For some reason, they're sitting on it this time.
It's just a shame that.
I assumed that these are in the annual roads plan, so they were in the budget for these dollar amounts.
Yes.
So, but these are not going to finance, and they didn't go to finance because, again, finance didn't have a quorum.
Correct.
Okay. But they were in the budget for this year.
Yes, as I mentioned in the memo, the design and permitting funding are in 27 and 28, but because we didn't do culvert 25,
Still out there.
still out there, we were advised by Impact Design that the culvert 25 had not degraded, so we should wait.
We haven't obligated money for 20.
No, we haven't, but we have budgeted money for 25. So bringing forward the design and permitting for culverts 22 and 24 is well within our budgeted funds for the year.
Understood. Thank you.
That's it? Okay, once again, the motion, I move that the Sun Valley Community Association Board of Directors approve funding of $167,497 from the Roads Reserve Fund and authorize the general manager to execute the proposed contracts with PowerTech, Northwest Geologic, Impact Design, and Lake Rockland Water and Sewer. It was seconded by Tommy. Approve?
All in favor?
Unanimous. Next item, approval of ACC policy revision.
Thank you. The purpose of this memo is to request approval of the proposed amendment to Sun Valley's current architectural control policies. Because of the large number of residents using non-compliant bistro lights, a new appendix has been created to provide additional options to homeowners with non-conforming string lighting. We propose adding an appendix which is attached to the memo showing acceptable options. The ACC chair, the ACC inspector, the SVCA compliance manager, and the general manager, me, have all reviewed the new appendix. We feel confident that these changes will better protect the unique environment of Sun Valley. For that reason, I recommend that the Sun Valley Board of Directors approve the proposed revisions to the ACC policies document.
Thank you, Joanne. Motion. Move that Sun Valley Community Association Board of Directors approve the proposed revisions to the ACC policies document. Second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Just want to make sure I understand it. I mean, I have solar lights, you know, the $40 bulbs that you buy at Costco, and solar, and they're hanging on my balcony, or my back deck. Now, you can't see them from the street. Now, I'm wondering, are those, would I have to take those down under this?
Don't tell anybody.
No. See, I'm on the board now, so it's not a question of don't tell anybody, because if I violate the rules, well, it's even worse.
Well, let's talk about your fence then.
Well, that was approved. Oh, that was
But
approved.
I think my thinking with this whole thing was, and I've got these lights on my eve, actually, but I think the thinking was, we don't want any lights that are pointing up, when this is, all lights point down.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
Joanne, did we actually finalize the holiday, because somebody mentioned something about that?
Yeah, so the gentleman who spoke earlier that was totally valid, and I appreciated his looking at this. We do allow people to put up lights at Christmas, Lori. That are
6,000. Don't go past my daughter's place
totally
at Halloween.
out of compliance with our general lighting policy, because it is a tradition to do that. But over the last few years, the proliferation of these unshaded bulbs hanging outside on people's decks, along their eaves, out in their trees and bushes, it's become an epidemic. Every week I get 3 to 4 reports of new properties that put them out there, and they do travel onto other properties, and they do, because of the LED technology, they're pushing out a huge amount of light. And people have forgotten that, I think, that Sun Valley is meant to be a wildlife sanctuary, and we're supposed to be dark skies and all that, and our policies in the, our EC policies define that as downward facing lights, they have to be frosted. And there's a catch-all in our policies, right, Daniel?
Yeah.
Which says, even if you have a compliant light fixture, if the light from that fixture goes into another property, travels into another property directly, that you could be asked to remove or change the fixture. So we take our lighting very seriously here, and people, when we tell them that their lights are not in compliance, they are very like, oh my goodness, that's ridiculous. Everybody has bistro lights. I'm like, yeah, and I've written 1,000 letters. So we thought that it would be better to give guidance about, yes, we understand you want to enjoy your outside areas. We have such short days at certain times of the year. Yes, we get lights, but point them down, shade them so they don't travel off your property. And this is an attempt to help with that.
Well, actually, look, I can cross to one side of them real easy, and so, there you have it. Go for it. What about my fence?
I was gonna make the comment that I'm all for the solid covers, I'm not real comfortable with the frosted ones.
Jean?
I guess my question is, does it matter like how bright the light is? I mean, I understand it's really bright, but if they're not real bright, like a lot of the bistro lights that I've seen aren't real bright, so I don't have them. But can there be some sort of guidance, like if you're only this bright, put out this many lumens, you don't have to be covered, but anything over this number of lumens, you have to be covered?
I would guess that, we're not gonna be looking for your lights, but if a neighbor has a problem with them, then it's a problem.
Well, then I have somebody behind me. I'm blind when they shine the light into my bedroom.
I have a comment and a suggestion, or whatever. I don't think we can say, I know we're just joking around this, I have them in my backyard too, and I'll explain my usage for it. That it only if somebody complains, then are you out of compliance? It's like you either are or you aren't, and we have to, it can't go on, you're only out of compliance if a neighbor complains or something like that. If you're out of compliance, you're out of compliance. And if we have to take ours down, we'll take ours down. What we use them for is we use them when we let our dogs out to go potty for 5 minutes in the dark. We turn them on, and then we turn them off. If we're going to use our hot tub, we use it to light our way, and while we're in the hot tub for 15-20 minutes, we turn them on, and then we turn them off. So maybe instead of an outright ban of them, we ought to define usage, like total number of lights. Like if it's, I'm not an electrician, I don't know all this, but like say you can have no more than 20 bulbs, or just pick a number out, no research, just pick the number out. Or they have to be off between, within, by 10 o'clock or something, that we put some guidance so that it can be enjoyable. It's kind of like a noise ordinance. You wouldn't say somebody, you can't play your radio, but you can't play your radio after, outside after 10 o'clock. So maybe we could do something that would allow, since it's all over the valley, that it could allow usage of them within certain guidelines and certain use, not just time guidelines, but usage guidelines. Maybe we could look at something like that.
Well, this is an attempt to go in that direction. I mean, we did have a lot of discussions about how long can it be and all these other things. It comes down to compliance. And to your point about if it's annoying to people, then you've got a problem. I mean, I would guess that I could go to anybody's house here and find a ACC problem. I'm not a stickler for that, unless it really annoys one or two neighbors. Then
reasonable.
Yeah, you gotta. I mean, we're all trying to live together here. There are rules, we do stand by them, but I mean, I'm sure everybody's got something that there's a problem. But if it doesn't bother anybody, I'm not gonna worry about it.
Rob and Linda and I have comments.
Just a comment and question. So I'm also one that likes to follow processes. What does it say? What do I need to do? And so with Christmas lights, do we have some documentation that says like we can have them up from the day after Thanksgiving through the end of, is it that?
We don't have a policy around holiday lights, and I've asked the AC to come up with one,
Okay,
because of that very thing.
yeah.
If we're gonna be rigorous about our lighting, then we need to have a policy so people know what is appropriate at the holidays.
Yeah, and I'm not advocating that it's like, we have rules, see, I think it's kind of, there's people that have Christmas lights up even now that I enjoy going by, I think it's cool. I'm gonna be honest, I've got a string of Christmas lights that light my driveway, so when I go down the driveway, I can see where I'm going in my chair, so, but I wanna be in compliance too.
We have a lot of discussions about Christmas lights, and you're never gonna say, no, you can't have Christmas lights. A lot of people find it annoying when people have Christmas lights on in February, but, you know, this is something we're working on.
Yeah.
And we can't just say, I mean, I think where we left it was, lights are allowed from what? I think we said Halloween to, I think it was 4 months, there's a 4-month window around the main holidays.
Yeah.
That's kind of where we left it, couldn't really formalize it.
The dark months.
Yeah. It got complicated. The discussion got very complicated.
Well, some of the people that I've spoken with have shared, community input is important, right? Have shared that they're afraid to let their dog out into their fenced yard at night because of all the cougar sightings this year.
Yeah.
And I think that to have some lighting out in the yard, not on the house, but the bistro lights can go out in the yard, helps for them to feel like they're safer with letting their animals out. And that's a real thing. I mean, we did have a report of a cougar picking up and trying to kill an animal, a little dog. So it's a real thing. It's not made up.
Yeah, that's why the lighting issue was more problematic than a lot of the other things like pink doors and things like that. There's so many different usages for lights and so many reasons to use them. It's hard to really nail it down.
Can I have just a quick quick question? So if the Christmas lights should be out for lighting to, for a driveway, are those little low solar lights that, kind of illuminate the edge of a driveway, are those?
No, they're not.
They're,
as long as they're pointing down.
As long as they're pointing down?
Yeah,
okay.
Most of those are.
Okay, thank you.
Linda?
Isn't it easy to just put something in the rules and regs and publish it and go, this is when our times are gonna be, rather than ACC determining it, is you have it in the rules and regs, and, because there's a lot of that about loud music and that sort of, all that's in the rules and regs, more than it's in the ACC thing, and I would suggest you go there. There's one lady that, I go by their house all the time, to my daughter's house, and they decorate all year long, and I love it. But once again, they have it up, they have it down, they have it up, they have it down. With some of these lights, that are these bistro lights that are up all night long, they're shining in people's bedroom windows. That's nuts. You don't need that. What Lori does and stuff, that's perfectly understandable. But to have it there at 3 o'clock in the morning,
I would support it in Lori's case where they're on just for a brief period.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
For temporary lighting, it's when they leave them on all the time.
Yeah.
And, it gets irritating.
Yeah.
so I think I'd suggest looking at the rules and regs rather than having ACC. They said that they're acceptable. Lori says she likes the idea of them being shielded. I kind of agree with Lori on that. I don't know that frosted always does the trick.
It mutes it.
It's in line with our current policy about lighting, and we try to be consistent. And when I looked, I did research about how other HOAs handle Christmas and holiday lighting displays, and it's always the architectural control committee that gives guidance. So
Sure.
that's where we started.
Lori?
Just as the gentleman commented during the comment period that didn't look at it, didn't prepare for this, but does our current ACC about lighting only refer to lighting that's attached to houses? Or is it lighting in general? Do you know? I don't know if you know that specific.
Well, this is kind of a bit of a departure for us. Most of it is, lighting on the house, spotlights, things like that. So this is just something that's come up quite a bit, and it sort of fit in with the rest of our AC policies. That's why we jumped on it. Christmas stuff, I'm not sure where that would actually fit in the holiday writing.
Christmas, Valentine's,
Easter.
Halloween,
Fourth of July,
That's where it got.
Canada Day.
Mother's Day.
Yeah. You know what?
I have Canada
You know
Day.
what it is?
It's Veterans Day, 4th of July.
Canada Day is the 1st of July.
Oh, 1st of July.
So that's why it was an ongoing discussion, and any suggestions that anybody has, we'd be very willing to listen to and try to incorporate it into a policy after it's just to give guidance.
Should we bring it back?
Yeah, I think.
I think we should bring it back. I agree that it should be an ACC suggestion, but rules and regulations are probably where it should be regulated.
Sure.
Move to table.
Point of order, if you table, doesn't that kill it?
Kills the dog, it dies. Postpone.
Well, stops the conversation.
We're just talking about this right now.
That's just this, just move to table for right now, and then bring it back in next meeting or in 2 meetings.
So
I'd say postpone then rather than table.
Well,
so
table
specifically
is the
or
same.
the holiday list.
Okay, there's a motion to postpone this. Do I have a second?
Second. Oops, I can't, I made it.
There's no discussion on the motion to postpone.
Okay,
Well, let me just clarify, are you continuing the discussion about Christmas lights or about what we have in the appendix?
General outdoor lighting separate from houses and
And
stuff
see how
that
it
people
works.
put up.
So there's a motion on the floor.
all in favor? Okay,
This one got taken out, didn't it?
so we're done.
Okay, so with that, we are concluding for tonight.
Move to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second, get it, all in favor?
At 9:02.
Yeah. Good job, Tom.
Tanya, thank you for the treats.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I made it.